Hello everybody, welcome to simple chord substitution, and we will start this topic by discussing diatonic chord substitution in major keys. Okay, so what exactly is chord substitution? So first of all, let's look at these 7 chords. Okay, so a harmonized C major scale or C major diatonic chords. Basically the concept of chord substitution is, or simple chord substitution is this. We have chords that resemble each other, say for example C major and also E minor, and they are similar to each other because they share a lot of chord tones. They share some common chord tones, and when we see, say, C major 7 used in a chord progression, we can actually substitute or replace this chord with a similar chord, say E minor. All right, and let's take a look at 3 chord groups. So we have tonic, subdominant, or dominant. Okay, and let's take a look at the tonic group. Okay, so the tonic group is the group that feels home. It is the group that feels most stable, and they are the 1 major 7, 3 minor 7, and 6 minor 7. So in the case of C major 7, we have C major 7, E minor 7, and 6 minor 7, so that would be A minor. I'm going to prove it to you. These 3 chords have a lot of chord tones in common. So C major 7, we have C, E, G, B note, right? Okay, let's take a look at E minor. Okay, I'm going to write it here. E, G, B, and then we have a D note. So you see, they're really similar to each other in terms of chord tones. So this guy has a C, this guy has a D note, but you see they share 3 common chord tones. Okay, and let's take a look at A minor 7. Okay, so A minor 7, we have A here. So A, C, E, G. If you compare A minor to E, we have 1 common tone, 2 common tone, and actually if you go A minor 9th, so we have a you have a B here, then you will have 3 common tones with E minor. And with C major, let me write C major here again, C, E, G, B, you would have 4 chord tones that is shared. So you see these 3 chords share a lot of chord tones in common, and that's why in a chord progression we can substitute one by another. Okay, and that's the logic behind simple chord substitution. We substitute one chord for another because they are mostly similar to each other with really minor differences, and that minor differences give us a little bit of a freshness. Okay, that gives us that slight difference. Okay, let's go to the subdominant group. So a subdominant group feels slightly off. You can describe subdominant group as the chord group that is on the way out. So imagine that you're a child and you have a specific place that you want to go to. And subdominant group is like the road that you have to take to go to, say, that restaurant. Okay, it's not the restaurant, it's not the destination, but it's the way out. Okay, so you're on the way out, and we have 3 chords in this case. We have 4 major 7. So 4 major 7 would be the F major chord in this case, and we have 2 minor 7, which is the D, and we can also actually have 5/7 sus. Okay, it is quite commonly used as well. So G7 sus. If we take a look again at their chord tones, let's see. So F major 7. So F, A, C, E, and then D minor. So D, F, A, C, and then G7 sus. So G7 sus in theory has no thirds. So G, C, and then D, F. Let's see. So F major 7 and D minor 7. 1 chord tone, F major, and then A, and then F. So they already share 3 chord tones. All right. And if you go D minor ninth, you will actually share 4 chord tones. Okay. So there are a lot of things in common between these 2 chords. And then G7, sus. Okay. If you compare it to D minor, so you have F, you have D, you have C. So 3 chord tones in common already. And if you compare that to F, A, C, so F major 7, you have F, you have C, so 2 notes in common, not as many, but 2 notes, just 2 notes. And G7, for G7 says if you go to G13, which is a common tension that we add to a dominant 7 chord, actually you would share 3 common tones, okay? So really it is quite common for these 3 chords to be used interchangeably, okay? So that's the second chord group we need to know, subdominant group, okay? SD, shorthand. Okay, the final chord group, dominant chord group. So you can think of the dominant chord group as the destination, or the, say when you're going out, you're going to a restaurant. So this is the restaurant, okay? And this is the destination that you want to go. So you're away from home, okay? So the destination is somewhere away from home, okay? So you're away, you're unstable. So after you finish, you really want to go home and rest, okay? But dominant chord group is feels away, it feels unstable. So we have 2 chords in this group. We have G7 if we are in C major, and the 7 flat minor 7 flat 5. So that would be a B minor 7 flat 5. So again, let's take a look. G dominant 7. So G, B, D, F, and then we have B minor 7 flat 5, B, D, F, A. So we have B, D, and then F, 3 common tones, so that's a lot. And we can actually also put 5/7 sus in this group as well. So this specific chord can be included in both the subdominant group and the dominant group, okay? So say G, C, D, F. So obviously G7 sus would share a lot of common tones with G7. And if you take a look at the B minor 7 flat 5, so we have 1 chord tone, 2 chord tone, and 2 chord tones at least in this case. And usually, and when we use the G7 sus, we resolve that to G7. So that would just make the B minor 7 flat 5 chord sound like it has a lot of in common with the G7 sus, okay? So that's the 3 main diatonic chord groups. And for example, let's just work out a very simple example here to see how it is actually used. We have a chord progression here: C, A minor, F, G7. First step, we want to determine the chord group. So C is a tonic group, is in the tonic group. So T, A minor 7 in a tonic group, F subdominant, and G7 a dominant chord group. We can do some reharmonization. So I'll keep the I think I'll keep C here. For A minor 7, we can substitute A minor 7 by another tonic chord group chord, so E minor. So E minor is also in this group, so instead of playing A minor, I can actually use E minor. So I'm maintaining the same chord group, but I can play other chords in that chord group if it's available. Subdominant chord group, I can replace that by a D minor 7, or I can replace that by a G7 sus, okay? Since we have these chords available in the subdominant chord group. And finally, dominant 7, we can go for a G7 sus. A more common case would be G7 sus going into a G7, so they each account for half a bar. And we can also use the B minor 7 flat 5 chord. So that's how you can do it, okay? So instead of having a chord progression like this, we can have a new chord progression that would share the same chord family in each bar, but with a different chord. So we have a different sound, but overall you will still achieve more or less the same effect. Okay, so that's how it's used. Okay, cool. Hopefully everything makes sense. In the next video, we're going to work out some exercises in other keys. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.